Hello, I'm John Walter, instructor for English 302, Advanced Composition, sections M01 and M03. And in this lecture, I'd like to give you a brief overview of sort of the George Mason University Library's website and point out some particular resources that you should be aware of and that we will be using this semester. So, the website here, just at library.gmu.edu. And if you have not yet taken a look at it, or you haven't taken a look at it in a long time, I strongly recommend you come and just take a look and come visit, take a look, and kind of just look around a little bit. Some things to note: library hours are always sort of listed on the side here. I also want to point out down here the My Library section. You've got access to interlibrary loan. We can talk about that briefly in a second. We've got access to Ask a Librarian, a very useful resource. You can, I need help with. You can then come down and work through here, figure out what you need help with, and you can get information, including eventually you can also get assistance by phone, schedule an appointment, request a research assistance, or even send an email. And you can get help from libraries, including you can get help without even actually walking into the library, but the reference librarians always also like to sort of work with students, and so they are there to help you, and reference librarians enjoy doing it. I've worked in academic libraries as a student employee at 3 different universities, working on both undergraduate and graduate degrees, and for the most part, I can tell you that librarians, especially the reference librarians, really like to help students. They see themselves as educators, and that's part of their job. Actually, there is their job, is to help educate and students and help. So educational support, but also educators themselves. So, kind of move on from there, and let's get back to taking a look at the website here. Other things, we've got the Ask Librarian. You can also reserve a study room if you want. I want to point out the subject guide section here. If you have not seen this yet, this is a useful place to come take a look. You've got different subjects you can kind of take a look at, things like the database apps, reference and research, and some information on writing and citation management. You'll also note here you can get stuff, performing arts, visual arts, business management, stuff on data and statistics. So you can see there's a number of different things depending on, some are discipline, some are by topic, some are by resource. So you can come kind of click around new students and faculty. You can come click around, take a look, find out information about these things. Also note here there's additional subject guides dealing with course guides, articles, databases, science metafinder, and research portals. I want to click on the course guides, and you can come down here. You can see there's different guides for various courses. You'll note that there is a 302 guide, last updated on September 9th, so just a couple days ago. This is just a general guide put together for all 302 courses, but this exists, and I have added a link that now exists in the left-hand tool menu in our Blackboard course, and you can just go there. You can always find a link directly to this page, but of course you can also just go to these subject guides, that guide link, and I'll take a look at that when we pull back out. Note here sections on beginning research, find articles, find books, discipline awareness assignment, evaluating sources, writing citation, and getting help. So all these issues here that can help you kind of work through information. You might come browse, take a look. We also have subject guides by subject, so you can kind of get more specific: the arts, business, health sciences, humanities, natural sciences, etc. So you can come take a look at these. These have been prepared by the reference librarians for 302 classes. Okay, so again, on the front page here, come to subject guides and you can get there. Excuse me. What I also want to point out, up here, we have under the Learn section, there's again the Ask the Librarian, workshops. You get this monthly calendar, lists all the workshops that are taking place at the library this month. There are tours. If you are not familiar with the Fenwick Library, I highly recommend taking a tour. We will be actually using this Zotero later this semester. If you take a look here, Zotero is a citation management tool. It helps helps you with bibliography, helps do in-text citation, but also lets you sort of create notes, attach notes to a particular source, and you can also sort of you can add tags. So you can add your own keywords to sort of tag sources that you're working with, the notes you can give. If you're working on a big project and you want to have like categories of a particular topic that you're creating, you can kind of create your own tags to help you kind of organize and go through the work. We'll actually be looking at Zotero later this semester, but there are workshops if you want to take one now, or if you want to, when we get into Zotero and you want to think, oh, we're going to do that, I want to learn more. So these calendars, monthly calendars exist, very much worth looking at. What I want to spend most of our time today, though, is talking about the tutorial page. I asked you to actually come take a look at this as part of this week. It's actually listed on the schedule for one of the activities you should do. And I want to kind of give you a brief overview. Here you note this is broken up into sections. You've got basic research concepts, include things like type of resources. This is one of the resources we will be looking at. Well, actually, we'll be looking at this week. We'll be looking at a number of these things throughout the semester, but we won't be looking at every single thing that's listed in these tutorials. So we've got, again, basic research concepts, working things like types of resources. We've got down here note-taking, study skills, time management skills. I'm not asking you to look at these, but if you think you need some help, come take a look. Most of these are actually, 3 to 5 minutes if they're a video, and you can tell you've got the legend guide here. PDFs, video, web page, or a slide presentation. So you can see the icons, video, PDF, video, website, web page kind of thing. So you've got those. How to read a citation if you need to, etc. Then at the next section here is the research process. Starts with selecting search techniques, part 1, part 2, narrowing your topic, etc. We'll be looking at a number of these, but not everything that's listed in this section. But it's kind of browse through it. It's good to know that these exist. Also have library tools and services. You can learn about Intercampus Loan, the Washington Research Library Consortium, and Interlibrary Loan. These are 3 ways that you can actually kind of expand your search. So if you're looking for a book or a particular journal or something that we don't have access to here at George Mason University, or our campus, you can actually put in requests. You might can search to see if it's held on one of the other campuses in George Mason, Arlington, or take a look if it's there. If it's not, is it held in a library that's part of the Washington Research Library Consortium? If it is, it can get sent to us. It'll be here in a couple days. Or you can do interlibrary loan, which you can actually get books. Generally, the books come from someone nearby, but I have actually had a book come from Ireland, I think, once. This was when I was at a different university, and there was actually a book published in the 1800s. It was like an 1880 or something like that book that was sent over from Ireland. And so you can actually, get books from around the world through interlibrary loan. It just depends on how rare the book is. If you're not familiar with call numbers for the Library of Congress system, which is very different than the Dewey Decimal System, you can actually, learn how to read a Library of Congress call number right here. Here's some tutorials on using Zotero, which we will look at later, but if you want to check out Zotero now, you're like, oh wow, a program that'll let me take notes and attach them to bibliographic sources. I want to learn about this. Here you go. Take a look at it. Zotero is really useful. And Zotero, if I don't remember if I mentioned it yet, it's actually a program that was developed by George Mason's Center for New Media and History. So it's actually a local resource that is used worldwide. It's a very, very popular source tool with academics throughout the world. And so you've got all these here, and then research, kind of tutorials on finding materials. Now, for instance, I'm pretty sure I'm not assigning us how to learn how to use the library's quick search function, or how to use the Books and More basic search the books and more, limiters, articles, how to select a database. If you're not familiar with George Mason's online libraries catalog, or you're having trouble with it, come take a look. These tutorials, pretty quick, they'll tell you how to do it. Help you with that. Also tutorials on finding streaming media, finding video, audio, etc. And then there's some databases like the Abesco database, LexisNexis, and some others. So again, it's very useful to kind of work your way through here. The Gale Virtual Reference Library. Finally, there's advanced research concepts. We'll be taking a look at some of these later in the course. So, come take a look at this web page, this page. It's part of what I'm asking you to do for this week. But know that it's here, and kind of know that these topics are here. So if you're trying to remember how to do something, particularly if you're trying to remember how to searching with the database, with the databases or the catalog, remember that these tutorials exist. So I want to, having kind of covered this page here, I want to just briefly mention some of the resources, the tutorials I'm asking us to look at for today, or for this week. Actually, not today, for this week. Here we've got reference sources. The PDF exploded on me here. I will note that you may have been told, by this point, some point during your career, that you really shouldn't be using things like encyclopedias as part of your research process. Yes and no. The encyclopedia should not be your final source. You don't go, oh, I need to go look up something, go to the encyclopedia, look it up, and then cite whatever's in the encyclopedia for your research paper. No. On the other hand, encyclopedias are great as starting points to learn more about a topic, so that you actually have a better idea of kind of the search terms you can look at, how a subject is divided into subtopics, one of which may be of interest to you, so it can help you sort of narrow your topic. If you're working with a particular subject, it can help you find and then kind of get a general overview of the ideas, so you can then help you kind of understand as you're working with other sources. And a good encyclopedia should also have some authoritative sources that it references or suggests that you can use for finding additional information. So, and I'll note that while you're probably most familiar with like your basic dictionary or something like the Encyclopedia Britannica, there is a wealth. An academic library like ours has a wealth of research, of reference sources that are way more specialized. For instance, there's the Encyclopedia of Ecology and Environmental Management. There's also the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. These are reference guides that are actually written for kind of quick reference for academics. I actually own, there's some encyclopedias that I have used so much in my career that I actually own, so I can just look them up, and they're specialized. I've got an Encyclopedia of Medieval Scandinavia. I have an Encyclopedia of Rhetoric and Composition. I have also an Encyclopedia of Anglo-Saxon England. So you can find, and I've actually used very recently, I think it was a Dictionary of New Media, I think is the title of it. And so there's very specialized reference sources. So again, keep these in mind when you start research on a topic. They are great resources to start your research, to kind of familiarize yourself with the topic, to familiarize yourself with keywords, ideas that you can then sort of use to narrow your search and to narrow your topic itself, and have some good sort of suggestions to start your further research. So, other thing I want to point out is that I actually, I asked you to take a look at these little 2-page handouts for reference sources, popular literature, popular press sources, trade publications, gray literature, scholarly sources. Note that each of these actually will come to the trade, just so you can see it's not just a scholarly one that it says. It'll give you a brief overview, tell you about the author, audience, and purpose, give you examples, talk about its reliability in terms of factual information, and how you might use it in the research process. You then come here to the second page, you'll find ways of identifying trade publications. So again, these handouts very much work in conjunction with the handouts I gave you last week on reading rhetorically and analyzing rhetorically. It helps you kind of think about some of those questions of author, audience, purpose, and how you might use it. So it can, kind of help you sort of fill in those ideas. You can say, okay, oh, this source here is a trade publication, so that's going to mean that it's going to be the people who have written this are probably going to fall into this kind of category. Their audiences, broadly speaking, are going to fall into this category, etc. We also, as part of this week, we're going to have this chart. You can also download as a, open up as a PDF. This does the same thing, breaks down popular scholarly trade, talks about the purpose, audience, who creates it, language, not sort of Chinese, English, French, Tagalog or whatever, but actually sort of the tone, the formality of language, level of kind of vocabulary, whether it's got specialized terminology, jargon, or meant to be written for a general audience sort of thing. Its use of references, and its accountability. Again, accountability here is sort of the same thing as reliability on these other handouts, such as the reference in popular. Accountability here is who's evaluated it, and sort of the gatekeeping function to ensure that the quality of the information is reliable and up to date, valid, etc. So you've got, again, these, what I want to note about all these tutorials I'm asking you to take a look at this week is that all of them work to help support the analyzing rhetorically and reading rhetorically handouts and helping you think about sources and the various issues that you want to consider as you are analyzing and understanding what you're reading. So, if you have any questions about this, please ask. And again, take a look, browse around in the library website, and browse around on the tutorial page. Just kind of get an idea of what's there. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.